looking back though, I'm like, all right, Penn State was always a thorn in my heel. You know what I
Uh,
mean? And then
uh-huh.
I'm hearing about this kid that's wrecking shop, and they was like, "Sim, be just like you." His athleticism. I'm like, let me go back and look at this kid. Then I see you freak over the line. I'm like, oh.
Welcome into another exciting edition of That's Your Mama, ran by yours truly, his son. No, I'm joking. It's Up On Game presents Conversations with a Legend, and I got my man, the myth. Yes, he is the legendary Simeon Rice. Man, appreciate you coming in, stopping by, giving a little bit of time, good brother.
I had to. My fellow Big Ten bro, Penn
Indeed.
State's finest. Why not? You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Why not?
I mean, one of the greatest defensive players of all time, especially our generation, up for the NFL Hall of Fame. I'm calling it. I hope you get it. I'm certain you're going to get it at some point. Um, but this podcast is not about talking about the football aspects of things. This is more so about where you are in life, the things that you're doing, to bring attention to lessons that you operate under based upon, when we were coming up, based upon when we played. And that's what Up On Game presents is with Conversations with a Legend. So let's start right here. Know you're from Chicago, ended up playing your ball, born and raised. I know you played your ball at Illinois as a fighting Illini. Uh, man, one of the dopest defenses, with Dana Howard, yourself, Kev Hardy. I mean, just a who's who, a litter of just a flunk of just dope football players. That level of accomplishment and expectation, how did that play a part in your career to start off with? Like, because Chicago, people know Chicago hard nosed. So how did that play into your mindset and just how that led into your college as well as your pro career?
Now, when you say that, I like answering specific questions.
Sure. How far from Illinois did you grow up?
Well, 3 hours.
3 hours. All right,
So
so that was a little
yeah,
ways off.
so yeah, for me it was far.
Yeah.
Um, and I never wanted to go to Illinois.
Huh.
I wanted to go to Notre Dame.
Huh.
Actually, I wanted to go to Florida State or Michigan, but they didn't
Okay.
recruit me. So and
Wow.
then I wanted to play Michigan. Yeah. So that's how that happened. And I was a running back. So a lot of things that kind of like transformed itself. But I would say more the transformative years with me growing up in football was a lot of the things that I took from off the block, the neighborhood, the
Mm-hmm.
community. And what I mean by that is like I grew up around Vice Lords and Mickey Cobras.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go into these, when I went to Montgomery High School, Donovan McNabb, he was our quarterback, young quarterback. Yeah, he was our quarterback, but he was a second string quarterback and he was a young kid. Antoine Walker went to my high school as well. Him and Donovan in the same high school, basketball, all of that. So with me coming out early, and I was a bit older. I was like 2 years older than them, 3 years older than them actually. And me going to Mount Carmel, I think that's where it's the first start
Okay.
because I went there.
Legendary school.
I was recruited. Yeah. We won state all 4 years. It was really good. I went there with the presence of mind of playing running back. I wanted to be just like Peyton. Peyton
Mm-hmm.
was my guy. Everything Peyton did, I did. The
Mm-hmm.
workouts. And we had MJ in the city as well, but I wasn't really turned on by basketball. But that was kind of where I was kind of like having a lot of success. But I love football. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. My uncle was got drafted early, back in the '70s. AC Clarence Ross. He was that guy. So he turned me onto that game, but I really didn't like it. I love football, and
Okay.
I thought I was going to be scoring touchdowns.
Uh-huh.
When they moved me to defense, it broke my heart. I almost quit, but it was just one of those things. And then when I went started playing football, I think a lot of the things that arrived on the football field was not getting punked. It was the South Side Chicago was the mentality I brought on the football field with. Like, you're not gonna punk me, you know. The size doesn't matter. I'm taking on comers because when I first came out, I was the undersized, as they say, the undersized rush backer and what position I was going to play and things like that. So when I came in with a sense of urgency. So I had a legendary coach, Frank Lenny, and I learned everything from play football with your head and your heart, um, hit to the whistle. Football became life. It was more reflexive of your family, the name on your back, the
Mm-hmm.
community you're from, and I was ingratiated with that early so much in life that it indoctrinated my thinking with it. So it was more than just playing football. It was always about sending a message, and it was all about representing your family and yourself and God and everything else that was made of you. I'll never forget early on, we were going to play games, and this is like my junior year, and I'm on the varsity, and I'll never forget going prior before the game even started. We'll have our in our we have our meeting
Mm-hmm.
before the game, and guys would be in that meeting crying and tearing. I'm in the back of the room and I'm laughing because I didn't get it. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? I'm like, this is
Uh-huh.
just a game. You know what I
Right.
mean? Why is
Right.
everybody crying? And then, you hear guys talk about my father just died. This is for him. I came out of this situation. This is for this situation. So they was dedicating all these moments that they were going to have with these memorable moments in their life. And it was so much that they brought on the field. And we blasted everybody. We playing East St. Louis, one of the best schools in the country, beating those guys. And with all that in mind, I went from laughing to start picking some of this stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Start getting serious about the game. Like this football is a mindset. That's what I learned out of that. And then with me going to Mount Carmel and also from being from Roseland, Southside Chicago, I brought all of those different aggressions on the field, and it played out. It played out perfect. It played out beautiful. I wasn't highly recruited coming out of Chicago. Didn't get recruited by all the schools that I kind of wanted to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I wound up getting Louisville. I went in to visit Louisville. It was Schnellenberger was the coach,
Okay.
and I never forget. I went in and I was like, "You gonna let me play running back?"
Right.
He was like, "Yeah." I was like,
At what
"This dude
height? What height were you at this point?
lying." I was 6'4". I was like, "He ain't
Six
gonna let
four.
me play
Okay.
running back. He lying." Yeah, I was like, "This dude lying." Then I went to Boston College. Went to visit Boston College, and coach, what's coach? Your coach. You was with
Who
the
was that?
Giants, right? Giants
Yeah, it
coach.
was. Who?
What's his name?
Gilbright? Oh, Coughlin. Coach Coughlin.
Coughlin was
Yeah,
the coach.
sure.
And see, when I went on campus, I went buck wild. So when I
Okay.
went on campus, I get to campus, I hook up with this little chick, Coach Coughlin, my defensive coordinator. I don't know if he came in. They set me down. They was like, when you come here, you're gonna definitely red shirt, this and that. And I was like, well, guess I won't be coming to Boston College.
Right.
So
Right.
a lot of the guys that I looked up to was already at Illinois. And on my visit, there was a guy named Mickey Johnson, one of my teammates. He's like, "What are you coming in at?" I was like, "A rush linebacker." And he was like, "That's my position. You're gonna transfer." I was like, "Oh, all right,"
Right.
but I didn't think none of it. I didn't know what red shirt mean. I just thought it was dope. I wanted the
Uh-huh.
red shirt, but then
Huh.
I didn't red shirt. I was a true freshman starting. Lit the world on fire, and I really didn't look back after that. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, yeah.
Now, again, you've been. I mean, obviously, I didn't even really think about Mount Carmel, but you've been blessed to be around pretty much stone cold ballers your entire
Hmm.
career.
Yeah,
And being one, it isn't
yeah,
just like you was with them and you got the experience. You was one of them.
yeah, yeah.
How does that how does that work for you? Like how was that for you?
That's a good question, bro, because it's interesting. Because looking back, our team in particular, our defense, we had the most shutouts, and we tied for the most shutouts and for the history of Illinois football. We shut out, I think, 10 teams, and no, 9 teams or 10 teams. And when we came off the field, the third team defense gave up a score, and that was the first time we scored. We would have broke the record,
Right.
and we wanted that record. So for me and my lineage in football, I was always a part of the number one defenses ever since I've been in there. So there's a factor to this. It's your
Uh
boy.
huh.
You know what I mean? I was
You the
able to get
factor.
down on front. Yeah, I mean, from Illinois to going to Illinois, We going into prominence there, and keep in mind, I was looking at, when I left, I was looking back at you like, yo, what's the man you played with
Courtney
that went to
Brown.
the Browns?
Courtney
Yeah, you and
Brown.
him, y'all were hell raisers, bro,
Yeah.
diving up. And I'm like, because I was like, I'm hearing so much. I'm gonna get back to me, but I'm hearing
Yeah.
so much about Penn State in the 10 because y'all beat us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When we were doing our thing,
I mean,
and I
y'all was
look back
supposed
and
to win. We came back on y'all though.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't
but
there yet, but I was
yeah,
a
you weren't
fan of
there
the
yet.
game.
Yeah. So looking back though, I'm like, all right, Penn State was always a thorn in my heel. You know what I mean? And then
Uh-huh.
I'm hearing about this kid that's wrecking shop, and they was like, "Sid, be just like you." His athleticism. I'm like, let me go back and look at this kid. Then I see you freak over the line. I'm like, oh. Then all of a sudden, if you're a really great pass rusher, you like pass rushing, you like athletic type defensive player. I
Yeah.
mean, you were it.
That
You know
was
what I
our
mean?
deal.
That was your deal.
Yeah,
So I
but y'all
look back,
set the
I was like,
tone. You,
yo,
Cav Hardy,
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
set the
yeah.
tone. Y'all
Yeah,
set the tone
but
for
I'm
it.
just talking about how it all kind of
Come
comes
full
back.
circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't watching Illinois. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't when I
Huh.
left. I'm not one of those alumni like, oh, I gotta watch the school. I
Yeah.
watch players, bro,
Okay.
and I watch you, and I
Yeah,
watch
I
you get
dig.
down.
I
And
dig.
again, I never
I
had the
dig.
chance to tell you this, but I liked how you got down, bro, for
Man,
real.
I appreciate
Uh-huh.
that very much.
And you kept
That
it going when you got to the league, which I was most not. It gave me ability to talk a little bit more shit. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
cause we
Besides, like,
Big
yo, because the
Teners.
Big Ten, yeah, you
Yeah,
know what it is.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm down in
Absolutely.
Florida and they think it's all about, I'm like, nah, bro. You know what I mean? They don't throw the ball like that in the 10. So
Right.
for you to be able to get down like that in the Big Ten, you
Yeah.
really, really
You gotta be
thorough
able to
because you
get
only
it.
get
Yeah.
so many opportunities. That
You
means you
right.
crazy efficient. You know what I mean?
Man, you right. You right.
Yeah.
All right, so you giving me my props. I again, I just and it's one of the most humbling things when you hear somebody that you watched and you looked up to hail you up. But more importantly than the game, you have done something that very few do, which is you're enjoying your success and the things that you're doing post career. But
Yeah.
if people were paying attention, they would have known that you were a personality that was transcendent of the game from day one.
Mm-hmm.
You always been that dude that
Mm-hmm.
was overly charismatic and stuff like that. Tell us about where you're at right now and how all of those factors in playing the game, how have they played into what you're doing now?
Okay, so when I was playing, I was committed. I was fully committed. I didn't have family. I had a son, but I was married to the game. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be the best of all time. I wanted to set the records. I wanted to do all those things. And then doing all those things, though, you play a long career. I want to win a Super Bowl, did that.
Mm-hmm.
All pros and all that, did all that. But I'm also thinking towards the end, I'm like, I want to be variegated. I want to have the ability to come. I want the same lifestyle, number one.
Uh-huh.
So lifestyle is necessary. So early on as a youngster, you trying to do things. And I had like all my boys that I came up with, but they were ambitious for their reasons. I was ambitious for my reasons, and those ambitions didn't always line up.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm talking about is I'm talking about when you're carrying all the dudes that you went to college with, that you
Mm-hmm.
grew up with, that you wanted them to be on, you want it just as bad as for them as they do. But then you
Mm-hmm.
find out they just really don't want that bad. They looking at your pockets. They looking at
Mm-hmm.
your black card.
Yeah,
You know
professional
what I mean?
friend.
They
Mm-hmm.
want to be you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man. So then, you had that bit where you have to kind of distance yourself and you got to grow. And in that process, I never forget going towards towards the end of my career. I was like, man, can I ball at a game without my boys here? You know what I mean? I had my first situation. I'm driving the game by myself. I never forget how quiet it was. Get to the game, play of the game, all that stuff, and I'm like, man, the show still go on. I'm still doing my thing. But
True.
yet, it didn't have. I wasn't. There wasn't a celebration. I couldn't celebrate with my boys like it was when I was 22, coming out of college. That was the
Mm-hmm.
fun part.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a certain level of maturation that had to happen. And in that process, I started, looking at things I want to do. I said, when I finish, I want to go to film school. When I finish, I want to make movies. I want to do things like that. And again, more importantly, I think I'm sophisticated and understanding enough to know how to invest things. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to get into that too. I don't know how. I don't have a real sense of direction. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like football because it's not my outside of filmmaking. Filmmaking is a passion of mine,
Uh-huh.
but I don't really have a clear, precise target I'm hitting at like I did with football because the
Mm-hmm.
passion is the thing that led me there. But it was like, all right, now I could do a little bit more psychological in terms of like how you invest. So during that process, after I retired, I went to film school. I went to film school, and prior to that, I was represented by CAA, and I had one of the largest public relations firms in the country that's out there in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I sat down with those guys, and we kind of like pontificated. We talked about what's next for me, and I'm like, yo, I want to do this movie thing. So they set me down with Bruce Willis. I'm on the set of his film when he was shooting his film, and I'm sitting down talking to him about, I want to direct movies, and then all he did was talk to me about being in them. And I'm
Right.
like, these
No,
people are
I
not
want
taking
to
me.
direct them.
Yeah, I want to direct them. Then I went
Right.
and met with what's my man name, Brett Ratner, and I
Yeah.
went when he
Yeah.
was directing Rush
Rush
Hour
Hour.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sit down. I met Jackie Chan, and he was childhood favorite, this Samurai
Right.
Sunday. So
Uh-huh.
I'm Jackie Chan and Chris Rock. I'm sitting down with those, not Chris Rock, Chris Tucker. And I'm
Chris Tucker.
talking
Right.
to him, chopping him up, and I'm like,
Chris
now I'm
Rock
sitting
comes
there.
out pretty easily right now, though. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
seems
yeah,
easier to say
yeah,
than
yeah, yeah.
any other
Right? It's
Chris right
crazy,
now.
right? So I sit right. So I sit down with Chris, and I meet him for a minute. But I'm shadowing Brett on the set. I'm
Okay.
shadowing, and it's like a day or two. And I'm like, I'm not really learning anything. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I'm not. He bringing girls in. He introduced me to chick, and I'm like,
Uh,
that's all good. But I'm here because I
to
really want to learn
learn.
the
I'm
craft.
trying to get it right.
So yeah, I really want to learn the craft,
I
and I'm
got
like,
all
you know
that other
what?
stuff you doing. Not
Yeah, that
like I
come
did
easy.
that.
Yeah,
I got all
yeah,
that. I can
yeah.
help you out in that category.
Correct. And I'm
True.
like, I'm not being taken serious. You know what I mean? Like you can
Right.
get in the door as you can get in the door. LaVar Arrington is going to get in the door. People want to
Yeah.
meet with you. People want to talk about your past laurels, all the things that you've done, the games that inspired you. Or, let
Mm-hmm.
me get us. They just want to meet with you,
Right.
if not anything else, just to talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody taking me serious. I'm gonna go to film school. And then my PR people and agents like, you don't have to do this, Sam. I'm like, I do. I want to start. I'm like, I don't. If I open a restaurant, I want to start off sweeping the floor. I want to know
Sure.
everything about the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about if I can circumvent the circumstance. I want the process. And then the
Yeah.
process I'm gonna learn. So I enrolled in film school and went to New York Film Academy, and I was a student, and I was one buying all the pieces, and that was my flex. Buy all
True.
the pieces in the
I could get
classes
the
and things
pieces
like that.
like you was
Yeah,
rookie all
the
over
late night.
again.
Yeah, it was fun for me. I was like, this is a cool process. You know what I mean? I thought I was gonna be the oldest person in the school in the class, and I wasn't by far. You know what I mean? You see people 40, 50 years old in film school, and everybody's there to learn in this process, and we crewing up, and we doing things like that. We jumping on red cameras and all that stuff, and writing stories. And I started realizing, even with my professors, even when you go there, all your professors are giving you their resume at the same time
Uh huh.
because you
Uh
have the
huh.
ability to fund
To
it.
hire them.
So yeah, so
Uh huh.
I'm like, you know what? I'm learning, but I'm also understanding, like, because when you go into school the second time around, at this point in my life, it's like I'm only here because I want to be. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Nobody's making me. I'm
No
not doing it for.
ulterior motivations.
Yeah,
Football is not
yeah,
motivating me, and it's like
exactly. Right,
school's over here.
right. I ain't doing
I'm
what I
here
have to do
for what
because
I'm
I
here
want to do.
for.
I'm here because
Right.
I want to be here. So
Right.
in that process, I'm like, I'm learning myself, and I'm like, man, I'm pretty good at storytelling. I'm like, I'm good at this. I'm good at writing out stories, doing our stories, creating short stories. My stories, like, from this, what the students are like one of the best in class. I mean, for one, let's be honest, I could get all the production. You know what I
Uh
mean? If we need the Ferrari, if we need a dope scene in the hotel, I can rent all that. So then, and there's nothing in it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this,
huh.
because all of it, they putting the pieces together. It's easy for me.
Uh
You know what
huh.
I mean? And then once you've invested over 10 years, 12, 13 years in the NFL, now you think about like, oh, we need a scene in a coffee shop. Oh, I own a coffee shop. Or,
Right.
a restaurant. Oh, I own a restaurant in Florida. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever you're like, I could shoot it there. I could do this here. Blah, blah, blah. My boy owned this bank over here. Like, we could get any scene we want. So
Right.
now I'm like, oh, this is a puzzle. This is dope. You know what I
Right.
mean? So now all I need to do is create the story, create the
And
scenario,
then put all the
and
pieces in
put all
place.
the pieces in place. So I was
Indeed.
like, yeah. So I'm like, I could do this all day. This is fun. So
And
now I
you
have a
did.
passion for it.
And you
Yeah,
did
I
it.
did. I did it. Yeah,
And the
yeah.
title was
Unsullied.
the
Unsullied.
Unsullied. Right.
Yeah, unsullied. Yeah,
Now tell me
yeah.
what was it about? What inspired it?
What inspired it is I wanted to put a well, I wanted to direct something, one, but what inspired that story in particular is I wanted to put a black female in a hero role where nobody
Okay.
had to come for her, where she had to figure it out herself.
Uh-huh.
And when I was first pitching this, I was pitching around, and we wrote it. First, I wrote it, and I'm like, yo, I want to direct this. And I met with some of the Hollywood elites, and they loved the story. And they was like, yo, you wrote this? They was acting like I copied off somebody's work. I'm
Right.
like, yo, I
You
wrote it.
plagiarizing.
But the first thing I did that I had success with, where I was like, yo, we just sold that, was I partnered with Doug Ellin, who created Entourage, and
Uh-huh.
I sold a show called Hardwood to HBO.
Okay.
And I met with Doug Ellin. First of all, I met with another guy, Brian Scherer, and this dude was so egotistical, so he was like an egomaniac. I'm in Hollywood, bro. You live there. You know
Uh-huh.
what
Oh,
I'm
I
talking
get
about.
you. Yeah.
We in Kasuya, all right, in a sushi restaurant.
Uh-huh.
So the meeting was set up by my PR guy, and they represent him as well. And when I got there, I sat down at the table, and I'm talking about this dude big time me on another level,
Wow.
like super big time me. But I was so taken back that I found it entertaining. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So he was doing two stories. He was doing a story on Plexico,
Uh-huh.
coming out of
Yep.
prison, and he was doing the story. I think it was with BET with Michael Vick.
Uh-huh.
So these are two
All
guys, and
controversial.
Vick is my guy. You know what I
Yeah, yeah.
mean? First of all, but it's controversy.
Uh-huh.
So I'm telling him what I want to do in film, and he's like, "You like all these other athletes that want to be in Hollywood, and this and that." And he's very dismissive. I'm sitting
Uh-huh.
down, and he's being super dismissive, and I'm sitting here like, I ain't never had a little dude like this disrespect me on
Like
this
just
level.
flex on me. Like
Yeah,
bad though.
and I'm super bad, and I'm
You
laughing at the
athletes.
same
I
time.
hate that. I hate
Yeah,
when dudes say
he did that. You
you
athletes, whatever.
athletes.
So he started talking about Plexico and how he started himself and how he worked with Plexico on this documentary about this whatever TV show that Plex had going on. So I'm sitting here like, okay. And then he started talking about Vic. And he was like, yeah, I'm doing this thing with BET with Michael Vick and that. So his getting his star rising back, coming out of jail and this and that. I
Yeah.
said, well, listen, bro, I ain't never been in trouble with the law. I'm hitting them with that. Like, I'm just trying to direct and this and that. And
Right.
then he's like, so what do you want to do? I said, I got this story. I got this story. I'm pulling out my bag, all the stories we've written, treatments that I've written. He's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Listen, Simeon, I'm not going to work with you. So I was like, all right, man. I was like, man, and then I'm laughing, but I'm serious. I'm like, man, you
Right.
mad disrespectful, bro.
Right.
He goes on. The dude was crazy disrespectful. You guys don't know what you're doing. You don't. He talked about me. Then he started with you guys as a blank slate, abstract.
Uh-huh.
Then he went to me, like, you just want to be this, and he don't know me. We just meeting each other.
Uh-huh.
So I let him go on and on and on and on and on, and then I couldn't take it no more. And keep in mind, we got Denzel and we have the governor there at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was in
Uh-huh.
the restaurant. This dude talked so crazy to me. I damn near flipped the table over on him. And I
Wow.
stood up. I didn't. At this point, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? I don't live here, and this ain't my world. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm only here to get game. And they said you was a good dude, but you
Right.
mad disrespectful. So fuck you.
Right.
So I'm up on my feet. I'm like, man, who the fuck you disrespecting this and that? And then he like, in the restaurant, the little waitress go away. I'm at him now. I'm like, bro, I just showed you nothing but respect. You disrespected me for 45 minutes. I found it. I was laughing at it at first because I wanted to see how far you was gonna go. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? But I don't give a fuck. Then now all the shit that has been
Yeah.
born in me since I've been a little kid. Like, you don't
It's
let
real
nobody talk
now.
to you like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck about none of this shit now. This atmosphere is way too
Because
disrespectful
people
for
say
me.
you got to be submissive for people to want to deal with you in Hollywood. Like it's like this whole thing.
I mean, I don't know about submissive, but I
I
think you
mean,
should
they
be
be wanting,
open.
hey, bruh.
Really?
Yeah, bruh. Yeah,
Submissive, like,
that submissive, like take the way I'm talking to you. It's
no, no,
like
no, no, no,
like
no,
enjoy
no,
it, Simeon.
no, no.
Enjoy it.
Listen. This ain't
Enjoy
a street.
this.
Listen, bro. This ain't cocaine in my bag. This is a script. This ain't. You know what I mean? This is business. Business is respect. Business is
Right.
supposed to. I'm gonna sell you this, and you're gonna buy it for whatever the cost is.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want to do business with me, yes or no. That's it. It don't have to be disrespectful.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He
Like
already had a preconceived notion of
he
who he
did.
thought you
Yeah,
were, is what it
yeah,
was.
he did because he went
So
down
what
the list of
happened?
all the felons.
So how did
So
it end?
when I went off, he's like, "Listen, calm down. I'm sorry." He started apologizing. And I'm like, "All right, bro. I didn't come here." I'm like, "Bro, we represented by the same person. I didn't come in. I didn't disrespect you. You
Right.
know what I mean? I could have. You small in stature. I know I could beat your ass, but I ain't
Right.
talk to you like that. I'm not gonna.
Right.
I don't talk to people like that. You know
Uh
what I
huh.
mean? So I'm sure. This is what it is. So he's like, all right, how about if I do you a favor? I can. He's like, I have a roommate from college. You know who Doug Ellin is? I'm like, no. You gotta know who Doug Ellin is. I don't know him because I didn't watch Entourage at the time.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, let me do my home. And he's like, all right. He's the executive producer of Entourage. I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
oh damn. So he's like, I'm gonna get you him, and he called him at the table and was like, yo, I'm with Simeon Rice. He's like, hey. And I was like, oh damn, this dude sounds cool. And then
Uh
he was
huh.
like, take my number and give me a call. So I was like, damn, all right. He's like, don't say I've never did anything for you. I'm like, all right. He's like, but I don't want anything to do with it. I said, okay, cool. That's what he told me. I don't want anything to do with your project, bro. So I talked to me and my partner. We talking on the phone. My producer partner. We wrote it together. I said, listen, I got a meeting with Doug. He know everything. He live in Hollywood. He
Uh
worked as
huh.
a producer out there. Let's do this. He's like, Sim, we got to do this. I'm like, bro, how should we drive up to the set? He said, here's the final shooting of Entourage. So we going to like the party, the final week. So I'm like, how should we drive up? Should we drive up in a Ferrari? Should we drive? You know what I mean? Because
Uh huh.
you got to make presentations to these people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
It's
let's drive up.
entourage.
There's Entourage. So let's drive up. Let's come on. Let's flex. Let's look good. He comes to, I drive up, meet with him. First of all, I called him. And I was hesitant to call him because of the guy I met with. I'm like,
Uh
I
huh.
don't know, bro. These dudes be way disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in the business. He got away with that. I'm not in the
Right.
business of disrespect. You know what I mean? Like, on no level. So I'm like, I don't know. He's like, Sam, just give him a call. Give him a call. So I give him a call. And the dude was the nicest dude ever. He
Nice.
was he was going to his son's baseball game. And like, I'm just giving you, like, he was a normal. He was like, yo, I'm going to my son's baseball game. I wish he was here. Would you go? I'm like, damn, this dude sounds cool as hell. And he was
Uh
like,
huh.
yeah, it's the final shoot. Why don't you come down? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, just come down. Let us know when you want to come down. We're shooting. We're going to be wrapping up the show. But it'd be cool for you to meet meet the cast and everything.
Uh huh.
I'm like, all right, cool. So I get off the phone. I'm like, oh, dude, say you want blah, blah, blah. Jump in the car, drive the Ferrari, pick up my man. We go down to the set. And then I'm still hesitant. Like, man, I don't know. You know, Hollywood weird. They be like, let's do lunch and never talk. So I get there, and keep in mind, I talked to him prior, and he was like, everything's set for you. So we drive up. I'm still leery. And then the person let you in the gates. Was like, yeah, you're, the guest list, all that.
Uh huh.
You sit down. Then when we got to the set, I went and sat with all the extras. Just because I'm like, I don't know where to sit. I
Uh
don't,
huh. Uh huh.
And
Uh huh.
then, but he was like, yo, waving, like, come over here. And I sat in the director's chair, and he's like, look at this. Tell me what you think. And I'm like, he's mad cool.
Uh
So he
huh.
goes, what do you got for me? I was like, yo, I wrote this thing called Real Life Entourages of Super Celebrities. It was like a play off Entourage, but it was like reality. And he's like, I
Mhm.
don't want to do reality. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, what else you got? And I showed him another show I wrote, Heartwood. And we look at it. And then the kid that plays Turtle on the set came over and was like, wow, what's this? He's like, read through it. I was like, you wrote this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is great. He tells him, he's like, yo, come here. Kid comes over, reads it. He's like, this is my next show. And then he left the set. 15 minutes later, he said, He reads it 15 minutes. He leaves and it's like, yo, I'm gonna call you in a day or two and see if HBO wants to buy it. I'm like, damn. So me and my boy with me, we sitting here and we like,
Freaking
dude, it
out.
was that easy. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like we wrote it that night. Like he was like, just write it. Let's write something else in case he doesn't like this. I'm like, he gonna like this. And he's like, let's just write. So he wrote it that night. And that took us about 35 minutes to write. You know what I mean? But we made it laminate. We made it look like a real university. It was about 5 young men that went to a like a like a what you call it? Not a high major, a mid major, and they blow up and they in Kansas and all this, and they become like the man, and stimulate all of it. So he calls me a week later and was like, "Yo, HBO is gonna buy it." And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, we
Wow.
sold something. We sold a thought, an
Right.
intellectual property. We
That's
sold a
beautiful.
thought. Yeah, I was like, "Yo, this something to this." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then he called me 6 months later and was like, they just hired Spike Lee to be the showrunner.
Huh.
I'm like, and I was like, I wasn't excited about that
Okay.
because I didn't want it to be, it was going to be cultural in college, but I didn't want it to be that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want it to take on this like civil justice thing, your social justice thing. I just wanted
Right.
to be a fun
Just
story
be right.
about
Okay.
kids in college. I was like,
Uh-huh.
man, this gonna be. I'm not. He's like, you don't sound happy. I'm like, man. And he's like, they're not gonna let you show run it. So you'll never show. You haven't done it. I'm like, but I know how this thing actually supposed to manifest.
Uh-huh.
So they bought it, and he became the showrunner, and that was it. You know what I mean? But from there, I was like, yo, we could do other things. So now I'm pitching a movie and they liked the movie. I met with all these aficionados. And like, we like this script, we love the script, but we're gonna cast it as a white
Uh-huh.
actress. And I'm like, no, she gotta be black. Because I wanted a fish out of water concept. I was like, yo,
Uh-huh.
and I got 4 little sisters, and I'm like, they need a hero type character, and I feel like this is a hero type character for some, and put you in a role that most like girls wouldn't ever have.
Mm-hmm.
Being like the sole hero survivor of their own story that has nothing to do with anything urban. And I wanted to put a girl that was a former track female in a situation where she had to think her way out of it and solve a problem within her life, like a coming of age story, as well as being a thriller and suspense story all in one.
Wow. So you get it done.
Mm-hmm.
It's bought. What was the end result?
So, like again, I'm meeting with these Hollywood execs. They like it. Then I'm like, yo, what's up? And it's like, it's being greenlit, but we're gonna change it. And I said, listen, and they were like, you're not gonna direct it. So I'm like, yo, I
Sheesh.
could. This is why I went to film school. Like, you think I could write it? Now you like the writing. You're not gonna let me direct it. I was like, I'm gonna do it myself. You know what I mean? So when I did it myself, they liked it. And I'm gonna just say they, because I ain't gonna put them out there, because who knows, I might have to use them again.
Okay.
But they were like, yo, we want to reshoot it with a different cast.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna put it out myself. They said, you're never gonna get this thing in theaters. I was like, I'll get it in theaters. And I got it in 268 theaters. Didn't do
Awesome.
well. Wish I wouldn't have went that route. I
But you
shouldn't have
got
went
it.
that
But
route.
you
That was
did
more
it.
of an ego route.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But you
what I
did
didn't
it.
know. I didn't know. I didn't know at
Right.
the time. Yeah, I should just did
That's
Netflix.
what we do. The
Yeah,
lessons are in
yeah,
our doing. Some
yeah.
people get their lessons by somebody telling them.
Mm-hmm.
People like us, we get our lessons by doing it. Like,
Yeah.
I
There
can't
was
tell
so
you
much
how much.
resistance to it. Yeah, there was so
Yeah.
much resistance to tell me what I couldn't do that
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and it's not about proving them wrong. I was like, let me prove myself right.
Indeed.
The highest level of actuality isn't about thinking about anybody else. It's not about like, when we were younger, when I was younger playing football, I was like, I want to prove this one. I want to prove this. Yeah. Now it's not doubters. It's just about proving yourself right.
Mm-hmm.
This thing
Mm-hmm.
is about self. This is a self walk we got in this life anyway. The highest level of of thought is self actuality. So you're not thinking about anybody else in the first place.
Let me get this off you. This will be my last question to you because
Mm-hmm.
this is a super important one because I always want to have in the records with legends this answer for a perfect time and a perfect place. What on your final moments, or you cease to exist anymore, what do you want people to say about Simeon Rice at that point? What do you want your lasting legacy to be?
I think it's simple. Just that I was a good person. You know what I mean? I want those that experience me to have that. Those outside of my sphere, I don't care. I don't know how to care. You know, but within my sphere, within the people, my circle, I want those to understand that he loved deeply. He lived with a passion. Like Simeon, like there lies a man that lived with passion. You know what I mean? So when I lie there in my resting place and my body is there, but my soul is free, you'll know that was a person that showed other people how to live with passion. You know, that's it.
Dope.
Yeah.
Simeon Rice, y'all. Super
LaVar
Bowl
Arrington.
champ,
My
filmmaker.
God.
He's the aficionado, all right? I mean, he's the mogul. I'm just, you know, I'm in awe of the conversation. I think that these are conversations that our guys need to hear. You put your mind to it, you go do it. You put your mind to it, you go do it. Like the premise of your story, like you're telling all of these details, but do you realize you had to get up and start the journey to experience all of the things you just told us? And that is it's so powerful. There's so many of us that just talk about it. I want to be a filmmaker. Still sitting there. I want to go do this. Still sitting there. To get up and do it. This is what this is all about. Is to drive home the message. Simeon Rice wanted to be a filmmaker. He didn't take the easy way out and leverage being a football superstar. He went to school. He did it. He got the cameras. They wrote the scripts. They did it. That's the key. You got to do it. It ultimately comes down to win, lose, or draw. There's always going to be a win, even in a failure, if you just do it. And that's just kind of what it is.
If you have a successful mind, I would say this. If you have a successful mind in terms of we talk about like a growth stock. If you know who you are, like you're a football player. Growing up, we all almost football player at one point. We both were. And you've risen to a level. You have to have a relapse moment and remember how you got there. You know, you got to remember, like, wait a minute. I remember how I got here. It was I was willing to sweep the floors.
That's right.
In order for me to cook the food, I got to be willing to sweep the floors in my own restaurant. I can't be bigger than the moment. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Simeon Rice. This is
My
Conversations
God.
with a Legend, man. Up on Game presents. Man. Y'all been blessed
Keep
with
putting
some
on game,
jewels.
bro.
Hey, man, all the way real, man. I appreciate you taking some time out for us. Anything you want to plug? Anything else you want to plug? Any websites? Any Instagram social followings?
Simeon Rice _ Rice. But where I make my killing right now is in blockchain. I started two of the biggest companies in the world right now in blockchain. They did pretty well. You know, Riot Blockchain and TerraWolf. And TerraWolf is a good buy right now. For those
Make sure y'all check it out. I'm going to circle up with you, talk to you about it.
You need to. I'm doing victory laps, my dude.
I know that's right. Keep living that dream. Keep being an example, man. I appreciate you coming on.